She thought prom night would be her chance to finally feel like she belonged. The dress was perfect, the music was loud, and for a moment, she let herself believe this night would be unforgettable, in the best way. But then, with the eyes of the whole room on her, one cruel act turned celebration into humiliation. A shove, a laugh, a silence that cut deeper than words. What happened next would not only shock her classmates, it would leave everyone questioning how far we've really come. For Maya, prom wasn't just a dance, it was a symbol of everything she had worked for. She was one of the top students in her class, known for her sharp mind and quiet determination. While others were planning parties, she was juggling late-night study sessions and part-time shifts to help her mother keep the lights on. Prom was supposed to be her night to finally feel like any other teenager, carefree, beautiful, and part of the crowd. She spent weeks saving for the perfect dress, imagining the moment she'd step into the decorated gymnasium with her friends. The lights, the laughter, the music, everything she had looked forward to was finally within reach. But beneath the sparkle of the night, not everyone was happy to see her there. Whispered comments followed her as she walked in, the kind that cut without leaving a mark. Some smiles weren't smiles at all. They were smirks waiting for the right moment. Maya didn't know it yet, but this night, the one she had dreamed about for months, was about to test her in a way no exam ever could. The night started beautifully. Maya walked into the gym with her friends, her head held high, trying to drown out the whispers she caught at the edge of her hearing. The theme was A Night Under the Stars, and the room sparkled with string lights and glittering decorations. For a brief moment, she let herself forget the stares, the murmurs, the way some classmates had always treated her as though she didn't belong. Tonight, she was determined to just be a girl at prom. But injustice has a way of finding its moment. At first, it was small. A laugh when she walked past, someone accidentally brushing against her shoulder with more force than necessary. The kind of microaggressions she had grown used to over the years. She smiled through it, telling herself not to give them power. But with each passing minute, the tension built like storm clouds on the horizon. Then came the dance. The DJ announced a slow song, and couples flooded the floor. Maya stood with her friends near the edge, watching. When a tall boy from the football team swaggered past, he glanced at her, then smirked. Loud enough for those around to hear, he muttered, "Didn't know this place had quotas for prom queens." Laughter followed, cruel and sharp, cutting through the music. Maya's face flushed, but she stood still, refusing to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. The moment passed, or so she thought. Minutes later, while students gathered near the refreshments, the same boy and his friends circled back. They bumped her table, spilling her drink across her dress. Gasps echoed. Her friends rushed to help, but the boys only laughed harder. "Oops," one said, mockingly raising his cup. "Guess someone doesn't know how to handle herself in a real dress." The humiliation stung, but Maya held her chin high. She dabbed at the stain, forcing herself not to cry. She whispered to her friends that she'd be fine. But the bullies weren't finished. As the night moved toward its peak, the DJ announced the highlight of the evening, the crowning of prom king and prom queen. The crowd gathered around the stage, buzzing with anticipation. Maya, standing among the students, cheered with the rest, until she felt a hard shove from behind. Her body lurched forward, nearly falling into the crowd. A chorus of gasps rippled through the room. She turned just in time to see the smirk on the bully's face, his hand still raised as if proud of what he had done. "Stay in your place," he sneered. The gym fell into a strange silence. Music still thumped in the background, but all eyes were on her. Some looked shocked, others uncomfortable, but too many wore the same smirks as the bully, waiting to see if she'd break. For a heartbeat, Maya froze. Her chest tightened, her mind screaming with a mixture of rage and shame. Every instinct told her to run, to hide, to disappear into the shadows. But something inside her shifted. She had endured years of whispers, stares, and accidents. This was different. This was the moment she knew she couldn't ignore. She steadied herself, brushing off her dress, refusing to let the tears fall. The bully clapped, shaking his head as if he had already won. His friends clapped him on the back, feeding off his cruelty. Around the room, whispers grew louder. Would she fight back? Would she cry? Would she leave? The tension was unbearable, like the...
Maya glanced toward the stage, the shining crowns glinting under the lights. She realized then that this night, the one she had saved and dreamed for, was no longer just about her. It was about every unspoken slight, every cruel joke, every moment someone had tried to make her feel smaller than she was. The crowd leaned in, hungry for what would come next. And in that fragile, breathless moment, Maya made a decision that would change everything. The room seemed to freeze. Music pounded from the speakers, but no one was dancing anymore. All eyes were locked on Maya and the boy who had shoved her. He smirked, puffing his chest out like he'd just proven something. His friends cackled, waiting for her to crumble. But Maya didn't flinch. She stepped forward, her voice steady, carrying above the music and whispers. Is this what you think makes you strong? She asked. Not to him alone, but to everyone watching. The gym fell into a deeper silence. Her words cut through the air, but the bully sneered again. No one wants you here, he spat, loud enough for the crowd to hear. You don't belong at our prom. The cruelty of the word our hit harder than the shove. It wasn't just about her dress or her night anymore. It was about her existence, her right to stand in that room as an equal. For a moment, Maya's breath caught in her chest. The weight of years of stares, whispers, and dismissals pressed down on her. She could almost feel herself breaking. And then something shifted. She straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, and locked eyes with him. I belong here as much as anyone, she declared. Her voice didn't shake. It rose, strong, unwavering, echoing through the gym. A murmur spread across the crowd. Some gasping, some clapping softly. Others simply stunned. The bully's grin faltered. His confidence cracking. Phones came out, recording, capturing every second. This was the turning point. In that single moment, Maya refused to be silent. She refused to disappear. And what she did next would not only shatter the bully's power, it would redefine the night for everyone who witnessed it. For a moment, the gym was still, like the whole world was holding its breath. Maya's words, clear and unshaken, lingered in the air. I belong here as much as anyone. It wasn't just a statement. It was a declaration, a line in the sand. The bully who had shoved her looked around, expecting laughter to back him up. But the crowd had shifted. Some lowered their eyes, suddenly ashamed. Others started clapping, softly at first, then louder. The ripple grew into something undeniable. Maya stood in the middle of it all, not as a victim, but as a symbol of strength. The boy muttered something under his breath, his smirk gone, and slipped back into the crowd. For the first time that night, he looked small. But Maya wasn't thinking about him anymore. She was thinking about every set of eyes locked on her, every phone raised, every person who would replay this moment again and again after prom night ended. The DJ hesitated before turning the music back on. Students moved awkwardly at first, then more confidently, and the night carried on. But for Maya, nothing was the same. Her dress was still stained. Her hands still trembled slightly. But she walked with her head high, shoulders squared, knowing that she had taken back something that others had tried to strip from her. Her dignity, her belonging. Yet the impact didn't end when the lights dimmed and the decorations came down. By the next day, the video of her standing up had spread across social media. Comments poured in. Some supportive, others hateful. But none of them could erase what had happened in that gym. People couldn't stop talking about the courage it took for a young black girl to stand against humiliation in real time under the glare of her peers. For Maya, the experience carved itself deep inside. She carried the weight of it, the sting of those words, the heat of those stares. But she also carried something stronger. The knowledge that her voice mattered. that speaking up, even when her knees threatened to buckle, could shift the room, break the silence, and force others to face what they'd rather ignore. And that's the truth of stories like Maya's. They don't end when the music fades, or when the bullies disappear into the crowd. They linger. They remind us that racism doesn't always look like fire hoses or police dogs. Sometimes it's in the shove meant to humiliate, the whispered comment meant to cut, the exclusion that says you don't belong. But they also remind us of something else, resistance. The power of standing tall in the face of cruelty. The courage of saying, I belong. Because that statement isn't just about one girl at prom. It's about generations of people who have had to fight for their right to be seen, to be included, to exist without apology. And so the question remains, not just for Maya's classmates that night, but for all of us. How many more times will it take? How many more young voices need to rise before the whispers of hate finally lose their power? Maya's story is one of countless others. Each moment of injustice is another chance to choose silence or courage, cruelty or compassion, indifference or change. What will we choose? The memory of that night will stay with everyone who was there, and perhaps with those who watch it unfold on their screens. Some will remember the cruelty. Others will remember the silence of the crowd. But most will remember the girl who refused to be broken. And maybe, just maybe, that memory will be the spark for someone else to speak up the next time they see injustice. Because racism doesn't end when one voice rises. It ends when enough of us stand together, refusing to look away. So ask yourself this. The next time you witness someone being shoved down, whether with hands, with words, or with silence, will you be part of the laughter, part of the silence, or part of the change?